Oh, yeah.
Welcome to another episode of Ordinary Guys Bourbon. Today I have a very special guest, a guy that's anything but ordinary, Liam Twomoon. Liam, welcome to the program. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you for having me. Name's Liam. I'm buddies with Dave's son, Andy. I own my own Finnish carpentry company. Just starting life and learning as I go.
Now you did a lot of work around here, right? We redid the kitchen here, last summer? Right?
Yep.
And you've done a lot of work with the flooring. I think you did a lot in the basement as well. It looks great, but starting off, it's got to be a little challenging.
Definitely is. It's enjoyable most of the time, though. I mean, that's the best part of it. I enjoy what I do, and that's keeps me doing it.
But you work hard.
I do.
You work hard.
I have to, otherwise, I mean, it ain't gonna go anywhere.
And the work that's been done is fantastic. Maybe your company will be the sponsor of this video. You'll be our first sponsor.
I would like to be.
Yeah. So Twomoon, that's a unique last name.
Yeah. So.
And I know in Andy's phone, I think he's got you as running water.
Yeah. Yes, he does.
But Twomoon, is that really your last name?
Yes, it is.
And what's the story behind that?
So Native American.
Really?
We're a mix of different tribes. I'm Apache, Aztec, and Mayan, and then we're also Mexican. And then on my mom's side, it's a ton of different white. Just
wow.
Different.
Were those tribes in Michigan, or were they from there? Because I'm an ignorant American. We just took your land. That's all.
So none of them were in Michigan. Some of them were from Mexico. Some of them were from like Arizona area and
really?
Like cactus kickers, like Death Valley area, stuff like that.
Okay. So if you're Native American, does it matter what percentage you are Native American, or can you just go live on a reservation, or how does that work?
I don't know about the reservation part, but I do know. So like for ceremonial purposes, there's eagle feathers involved.
Okay.
To own an eagle feather, you have to have a card.
Yes,
that's
says illegal.
You're a certain amount of Native American.
Wow. But that's neat though. It's interesting that despite the history and as controversial as the history clearly is, right? That things like ceremonial events can still be with that tradition and honored that way. So, well, listen, the bourbon we're gonna have today, and you're not a bourbon drinker.
No, not at all.
You're more of a beer, beer guy, right? So this is a bourbon called Blue Run High Rye, and it's a Chicago Butterfly edition. This is a unique sampling. I did some research as I do, right? So Blue Run by itself is not an old distillery. They were founded in 2019 by a handful of people that were not in the alcohol industry. Their founders included a Nike designer, a Facebook veteran, a political advisor, a philanthropist, and a hospitality industry executive. So wisely, they did partner with the former master distiller from Four Roses and the Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame inaugural class inductee Jim Rutledge, who had just retired a few years prior after working 49 years at Four Roses. Their business model is not unlike the sneaker industry. I read that online. It was pretty catchy, I thought. Every new release has a unique colored butterfly, and they frequent the limited release space. So, like I said, this was the Chicago Butterfly edition. They have quarterly releases that kind of builds anticipation for like a one-time only limited release kind of product, and it seems to be working. So they were started in 2019, but in 2023, Molson Coors, or as Andy would say, Coors, they paid $78 million to acquire a 75% stake in this company, and that included $65 million in cash. All the founders, including CEO Mike Montgomery, have stayed on in new roles in the Molson Coors leadership. Montgomery had previously been a political consultant, finance director for Gavin Newsom's mayoral campaign, and Governor Gray Davis, and an events manager for the USA Canoe and Kayak Olympic Committee. So Blue Run Bourbons, it's sourced from Castle and Key Distillery and Bardstown Bourbon Company. They're in the process of building what was called a beautiful distillery headquarters and warehouse. Actually, I saw some pictures. It is beautiful. It's expected to be completed later on this year. This offering, distilled in Frankfort, Kentucky, aged in either Frankfort or Bardstown, I couldn't find out. Hand bottled in Bardstown, Kentucky, 111 proof. This one has some fire to it.
Okay.
Mash bill, 65% yellow corn, 30% rye, and 5% malted barley. That's the story that I could get. So not an old company by any stretch of the imagination. a unique founders, right? Unique group of founders, and this whole thing with Molson Coors. So essentially, they were in business for 4 years, and I don't know how much money they invested over that first 4 years, but then they sold themselves for $70 million. That's like getting the lottery.
That's a lot.
It's a unique path they've had, and I'm excited to try this spirit. So, here's to you. Cheers. We got our neat sample.
Cheers.
And then we've got our
Does have some kick.
any way you want it sample, and then we'll get into the scoring. I'll tell you what, we're not even scoring yet, but for a bourbon that's new, right, or doesn't have a lot of lineage and legacy to it, a lot of times when you have those bourbons, you can taste how new they are, or you can taste the oak. It's kind of like some people they sell like little kegs, and they'll put like Buffalo Trace White Lightning, just unaged distillate, and they'll put it in there, and or they'll put some wood sticks in a bottle to try to get that flavor.
Yeah.
But you can really taste that on those younger, newer companies. I thought this tasted like a mature bourbon, right? But we'll get into that with the scoring. So there's 4 categories. Heritage, maximum score is 20. Taste and drinkability, maximum score is 40. Affordability, and this is I should have said this earlier. This bottle was $90 in Illinois, so that's Illinois penalty. There's a lot of taxes there. And then design is a maximum of 10.
Okay.
So I'll let you get to the scoring.
Alrighty.
Did you have any questions before your scoring?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Thank you.
Look at that bottle.
I do like the bottle quite a bit as well.
On I think when Andy was on the program, we did Breckenridge, right? Because that's in the Rockies, and like on the back side of the bottle, if I remember correctly, they had like a map of Colorado that you could see through the bottle. I thought it was kind of neat.
That's pretty cool.
That's what I was looking for. That was the same phenomenon they have here.
That's pretty interesting. And then the total again was for the maximum for the price there again.
Price is the affordability category, right? So the total is just the sum of the previous
the
five, 4 scores. Yeah. And I'll tell you, we had a guest on episode 5, a good friend of mine, Ken Pluff, and it was actually the second time we recorded an episode together because the first one didn't have good audio quality. And we went through the scoring, and he gave me his total, and then I did the math like afterwards when I was making the video, when I was doing the editing, and his arithmetic was off by 17. It was that bad.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's great.
That is funny.
That's Pluff. So let's start Heritage. What did you score on Heritage? It's got a maximum of 20.
Gave it a 5.
That's what I gave it.
No, no way.
Were you copying?
No.
Oh.
So I gave it a 5 because not much backstory on it whatsoever. Interesting, but not much to it.
Yeah, and I think I gave it the 5 just because of Jim Rutledge being involved. I mean, he's a veteran of the industry, distiller for 40 plus years at Four Roses. And so, I mean, he brought that lineage with him and that knowledge with him. So I think that gave him a little bit, because otherwise I agree, there just isn't much there.
No.
Right? And that's not a bad thing. I have no issue with that, right? It's great that different companies and different people are starting off and providing us with different offerings. But our scoring system is what it is. Taste and drinkability. I'm interested in your score because you're not a bourbon drinker. So what do you think there?
I put 25. It was actually, I'm not a bourbon drinker at all. I think it's pretty good though, and it's definitely something that goes down smooth. It's strong, but it's very smooth. I like it quite a bit.
That's a great point. I agree completely. I gave it a 30. I thought it was really, really good to drink. Affordability. Maximum score here is a 30.
Gave it a 10.
It's like we're on the same wavelength here, right? I gave it a 10 as well. $90. There's a lot of things in this space, and at a lower price point. I don't know if I'd spend $90 for this bourbon, but what was your last score for design?
Gave it a 6.
Gave it a 6 out of 10.
Honestly, just because the butterfly on the front with the shape of the bottle, I thought it was neat.
Yeah. So I thought the same thing. I gave it a 9 out of 10, right? And that's really what I was going back to with the affordability. I probably wouldn't buy this if I was at the store just looking to buy a bourbon to drink every day. But this is a bottle that would be fantastic on the shelf, I think, right? It looks neat, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but every release they have, they change the color or the design of the butterfly.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So, I think that's a neat way of keeping the product fresh and keeping the engagement and the interest. And I could picture like having a bar that had a row of these with all the different butterflies, the different different offerings that they've come out with.
It's
So
pretty neat.
overall, you gave it a 46.
Yes, I did.
Mine's a 54. We're in the range, right? We're very close. I think the average score there is 50.
Oh, okay.
So very good. Well, Liam, I appreciate you being on the program. And what's the name of the carpentry company?
It's called Liam's Home Improvements.
Liam's Home Improvements.
Yes, sir.
So you'll probably see that as one of the ads that comes up in the middle of the video, right? But again, thanks for being on the program.
Thank you.
And we will see you again next time.